Hey, everybody. For those of you who don't know, I'm Joshua. Today is July 2nd, 2017. And today I'm working on my video game Delver, which you can see the website behind me here. You can find it at delvergame.com. If you don't know, Delver is a procedural dungeon crawler with fantasy first-person shooter and roguelike elements. Delver is a passion project being developed by two people, which I am half of. Again, I'm Joshua. I'm the art guy. I do all of the 2D, 3D art. I do level design. I do a little programming, this and that, right? There are two of us working on this project in our free time, whenever we have time. And it requires us to do things that are definitely outside our comfort zone, but have definitely been good for like me, like growing and developing as a person who wants to make video games. We are in early access on Steam for $7.99. So if you want to financially support me, that would be excellent. And that is a way you can do that. Also, you can get us through our Humble widget, which will also support us. It also comes with the Steam key. I mentioned Steam twice simply because that is the build that we most frequently update. It won't be until we actually release later this year that we will actually update all of our other platforms. Let me see. So I think that's the pitch there. So let's get on to actually getting work done. Okay, make sure this is positioned so you can see what I'm doing. I need to go up a few levels. And apologies for doing this later in the day. Usually I try to do this around noon Pacific, which usually works out best for the US and the Western European audiences, but today's a little bit later, so hopefully, apologies if it's really, really late for you. My wife and I took a trip, and it's the first trip we've actually taken together by ourselves since our son was born. And he is over a year old, so it was a nice getaway. My parents are in town, and they had a blast watching him. But I am back, and I'm gonna do a little bit of Delver work today and try to catch up folks up to where we are. So I'm on Branch New Dungeon Theme, and I have stuff that I've been working on. Yeah, I guess I can talk about some of the stuff I've been working on. So I've been working on that this fireplace prop, and I'm not sure if I'm really right now. I'm not feeling it, which is okay, I guess. I mean, it's not the worst prop. It just looks kind of vanilla. And if you've been watching my streams recently, I've been working a lot on props. So actually, I pivoted to working on just rooms. So you can see I've done let me see, I added, where is it at? Yeah, it should reflect here. Yeah, this generator. There should be quite a few changes to this this dungeon new. I need to figure out what to name this, because I don't want to remove all the old dungeon tiles, but I've been calling the new dungeon theme Dungeon because the old rooms didn't use the theme. So I'm trying to bring this in line with our better practices. So it's going to be, I might have to shift some names around here, but my intention is not to break old content, so I don't want to break people's mods. But let's go ahead and let's fire open the IDE and bring open Delve Edit. And actually, let me just yeah, I can run. Just let the editor do its thing. I will run through the rooms I'm making. I'm trying to do a couple new things there. There might be minimal, but hopefully people notice. Hey, Hawaii. Thanks for showing up, man. I know it's late your time. It is past midnight, I believe, in Sweden. Is that right? Okay. Let me just erase this and start a new game. Kind of how I always do to make sure that I have fresh data. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Delver, this is the starting area. This is a little campfire. These people serve as shops and story dumps and all that good stuff. Again, at the beginning of a fresh run, there's not really a lot to do because you have very, very minimal gold, so you can't really buy a lot. But your gold does persist throughout each run, which is a little way we're trying to add some, I guess, in between run progression. Which I don't know, it's been an interesting problem to solve without it being grindy. Yeah, and this is on my development branch, so there are some weird level GFX error stuff going on. Yeah, but these are the new dungeon areas I'm working on. I'm trying to rely more on the decorator than the actual like building complex rooms. This is a pretty basic room. Unfortunately, it puts that way out of reach, but it does throw stuff on the walls. And I'm just trying to play around with having basic rooms and letting it. Basically, I've been working on props so long that I think I'm getting kind of tunnel vision on that. So I'm trying to work on some rooms and then maybe bounce back and forth between the two. I think that's the ultimate goal. But basically, my new move here is it used to be that every room in Delver was joined together by a door. So what I'm trying to do here is instead join each room together with another room. So maybe it's a little less obvious as to where the seams are from the map perspective, which I think hopefully will yield a little bit more interesting. It's a little booky area. It will yield more interesting results hopefully. And right now I just have the very most basic rooms put together, so we can actually have a connected dungeon. Ooh, so yeah, so some nasty Z fighting there. Shouldn't have put that bookcase there. I'm not sure why it did. There is some work that Chad needs to help me out with in getting the this decorator thing working more correctly. Cool. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to kind of have again, since my parents are in town, I probably won't work too long, but maybe just hang out here for an hour, work on some rooms, and just chat. So if you have any questions about Delver or game development, 3D modeling, pixel art, programming, whatever, just feel free to pick my brain. Otherwise, I'm just going to work. I mean, some of these rooms are working okay, and some of these rooms are still pretty spare. So I'm just trying to think like how we can best decorate them up. Because right now they're just big empty rooms that aren't always particularly interesting or well lit for that matter. This is actually a fairly large dungeon I've been kind of exploring here. Looks like there's some misalignment right here. What? Yeah, let me check the intersection room. Looks like that's the one that has it goofed. I haven't seen any pilaster. Yeah, there's a pilaster there, so interesting. And here it throws two of them together. Yeah, trying to control the decorator is pretty difficult. It is kind of wily in that it just you think it would have a nice even like as humans, when we think of like random distributions, we tend to think of them. Ooh, it probably shouldn't place props on top of the downward tile either. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. But yeah, when as humans, we think of random distribution. Like if you give somebody a piece of paper and tell them to draw a dozen dots at random, they'll probably more than likely, more than likely draw them equally like spaced apart, which is simply that might be naturally random, like in nature, but it's not actually random as in like mathematics or as in computer science. I get this crash. Is there breakable? What was? I'm really curious what's going on there because I've seen it crash on the entry screen sometimes. I wonder. Why is there a breakable hit? HP less than 0. It's like something, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Strange. Oh sure, yeah. Tesla Coil is pointing out quite correctly that because they're just big empty rooms, they're obviously going to be boring because there's nothing in them by definition. And yeah, so I'm just trying to get stuff blocked out. So if we look at this dungeon new, and I think the tri-intersection was one I had a misaligned model on somewhere. Not that one. This one. Yeah, let me slide it over. But yeah, the goal is to file save. So the goal is to try to have these playing rooms be decorated as much as I think we possibly can by the wall decorator and the room decorator. But you know, obviously, a designer is going to have to make some stuff. So I guess I'm going to start with let's go to corners, because corners and halls tend to be what we find the most of typically. So this is a super basic corner. And let's go ahead and save a copy, and then I'll make a second corner and maybe make it a little bit more interesting. So files, save as, and I'm going to call this one 2.bin. If you notice, if you look at the Delver rooms, we typically just have them just numbered. There is no real strict naming convention for the rooms. The only real exception to that is if you put a dash unique at the end. We'll make sure to only ever put it once per run. But other than that, the names really don't mean anything. So you feel free to use whatever scheme works best for you. Okay, so this is 2.bin, and I think what I want to do is, instead of having a very well-defined corner here, maybe have a series of rooms that make it feel a little less, I don't know, try to make it feel a little bit more natural as how people would actually build these things, rather than just kind of this very what is the word I'm thinking of? This very artificial feeling, like dungeons that you typically do find in a lot of like role-playing games. I mean, ultimately they are going to be this kind of contrived creation, but I'm just trying to break that illusion just a little bit. There we go. Just trying to put the nice little touches there with having our trims. Unfortunately, you have to do this manually, which is a bummer. But I think the effect is worth it. Okay. I think what I could do is, yeah, I could make it wide and put something. Yeah, let me just kind of widen this out a bit. And maybe put some blocking, something blocking here in the middle. I still would like to, like with the ruins, I have these 4x4 set decorator things. Like I could also drop one of those in there if I get around to making those. Not quite sure what they would be at this point, but it would be nice. Like I'm thinking, like the temples, you can right click and go to like prefabs, and I think temple sets. Where are they? Temple sets, and you can do like a. There are just a number of 4x4 room pieces, like this Crusher Traps set 4x4, and it drops in this this 4x4 trap set. And there was a whole bunch of 4x4 options in the temples that can be selected from. So maybe I'll do something like that. But speaking of that, already the June deadline has slipped past us, and I'm trying to just push through and get this stuff done. It's looking like I'm going to try to get it done sometime this month. I'll do my best to hang on and just get this stuff done. Okay. Maybe extend it out this way a little bit too. Wow, how did I? Interesting. Okay. Thinking maybe some sort of. Let's try that. I'm gonna try to put some sort of like little feature here that's off center. Maybe try to draw some attention to it. This should be 3 apart, and this one should be 3 apart. There we go. Pull that up. See what this looks like. Yeah, I think we're trying to get rid of having torches just kind of hovering, and let's remove that and let's place it on the wall. I think similarly here, let's remove that and then place it on the wall. There we go. I guess with the pilasters, it can create some tight spaces, but I guess that's okay. Maybe. Trying to think what would be up here that's cool. Kindred 405 says, you think it'd be possible to make a dungeon that feels more open, like an underground city with individual buildings? If so, I might try making it. Sure. Vesta Coil says, have you ever thought about considered making a wall-mounted torch model? Kind of. I'm trying to keep like certain things sprites and certain things models. Unfortunately, there's no real strong heuristic on how I do that, but I think I like the torches as sprites versus models, because I try to keep the same texel ratio across both, and I think that when you start getting into models that are that small, there's just not a lot of texture space to actually do interesting things with. A Little Train says, if one wanted to make a room that had multiple variants, such as certain pillars randomly damaged or what, is that easily done at one point, or would you have to make multiple copies of the same room? So it depends. If it's level geo, you have to make multiple copies of the same room. If you want, you can just, for example, you can place, if they're models, you can just give the model a number of models to look at. So for example, let's look at the dungeon sets, and this I think wood post. And let me slam it over here. Actually, I could just leave it somewhere where we can see it. If you notice up here for this mesh file, it points to this wood post 0.obj and this wood post 1.obj. And whenever we hit play, it will randomly pick one. Right now, I think the only difference is one has a chain and one doesn't, but they can be highly different. I think the temple sets, I think I do that for maybe I forget where I stuck it. Temple Stonehead. Nope, not that. Generator Temple Smallhead. Yeah, these have two different meshes entirely that it picks from. So that can be done just on at runtime, if that makes sense. A sacrificial altar, sun, moon, light shaft, seemingly bottomless pit, putting things in the center of a room. Yeah, no. So that's what my idea with the temple 4x4 set piece was, is to have a. I think you can just right click temple sets. Yeah, temple set piece 0. No. Temple set piece 1. It's hard to say. So I think these temple sets. I think this does pick from either traps or encounters that are in a 4x4 area. So yeah, you can do stuff like that. Certainly. Cool. I think I want to put. I'm gonna put stairs here. Let's try that. Let's just pull that up. Oh yeah. This place entity cold mesh or not architecture meshes. I think stairs here. Yeah. Let's see what that looks like. I might need to play around with the incline as well. Yeah, I wonder if I should make a set of stairs that go up a 45 rather than a 22.5. that might be useful. Yeah, so they need to be right there. And again, I liked it. Let me just undo all that because I liked it when you could get behind this. I thought that was kind of cool. Let me just delete that, and then let me just, I guess F, Shift F. Maybe that doesn't work anymore. Plague. So I do like this little back area, even though it's super tight. Maybe I could just widen that out by a single square. It would still be slightly asymmetric. So I do like the asymmetry, just because things are rarely ever perfectly symmetric. A lot of times, even when we're building stuff, we have constraints we have to work around in the real world. It looks like Tesla is suggesting maybe putting the stairs in the back. Certainly could do that. So tight spots, they can be okay, but like a lot of times it makes gameplay uninteresting because then you just funnel all the monsters into there and you fight them one-on-one, which is just boring. And I don't want to. I'm trying to intentionally remove gameplay elements that encourage repetitive and boring behavior. So we intentionally remove stuff that's grindy, and like for example, you can't ever sell anything at shops because again that encourages hoarding and just like really kind of non-fun gameplay. We're trying to help push the player forward, trying to keep momentum, stuff like that. So a lot of our design decisions are kind of based around that. And there's a little bit of room here, and it's a little tight here, but that's probably okay. Hey, Axelatine. I mean, we do have these doors, which are in fact just a one wide tile. So I mean, I'm not super great about avoiding it either. Just trying to add a little bit of variety. And maybe, do we have room to squirrel away a room back here? I think we do. In fact, I can maybe design it so sometimes it connects up, maybe, or maybe not. Like in the ruins, I got away with that quite a bit because they were kind of designed for that. But here I worry it's just going to be a big, blank, ugly wall, which is kind of a bummer to run into. Trying to think, what would be interesting? Right now, it's really dark up there, and you can't really tell what's going on, if anything. So I think I definitely need lights up there. Let me try just placing a torch prefab. That way I can get it at the correct Z height that I want. But of course the level decorator has a mind of its own and wants to slam stuff up there. Could put a pillar in the middle. I don't know, I still want to maybe have some sort of like random like little set that gets stuck up there. So maybe decisions. Yeah, level decorator. So if you notice, whenever I hit play, like random stuff gets spawned on the walls. There are rule sets that determine how, like, these wood posts get created, these wall pillars get created. You should see like windows and bookcases and other stuff that gets the level gets kind of there's a little procedure that decorates up like this. It'll try to put crates in corners. Yeah, we put different textures on the walls. There's again a set of rules that we use to kind of like, there's a window there now that wasn't there before. We're trying to, and these bookcases get thrown in, so we're trying to figure out ways of adding a nice little, like a fine layer of detail after the designer has has built a room. Yeah, thank you for the kind words. Yeah, we're trying to do interesting stuff, but we're also trying to be smart because there are only 2 of us on this project, and we have to be careful with our time and what we spend effort on. Yeah, I think that's okay. I think occasionally the decorator might throw stuff there, so should I just lower it? That seems like a cheap way of getting around that. Yeah, that's okay. It's not the worst in reality that would catch fire, but I can live with that. So kind of just position it lower. It still lights up that area a little bit, which is all right. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too. We do have an altar, but it's an old one, and I want to make a better looking one. Because yeah, we have, where is it? Not there. Maybe it's just Misc Meshes altar. Yeah, which is pretty vanilla. I made a new model. I want to have a little bit more cool looking one with maybe some like cloth or something on it. But yeah, nothing to do with that. Yeah, good point, Tesla. I do have a brazier. I think I made a texture for a dungeon variant of the brazier. Yeah, that would be like the temple brazier. So it would be nice to have a dungeon theme version for this. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I agree. That is a good suggestion, and it would be a pretty easy add as well. Yep, cool. Let me just go ahead and save this. Save. I have 4 on this side and 5 on that side. I'm trying to think of how I can. Right now, it's still kind of basic. I'm trying to think about how I can break up this space. That's more interesting. And this is okay, I think. Maybe I'll add just like a little back room here. So something like this. Okay. Let me carve that open and carve that open, and then maybe just trying to carve that open. Then maybe slam the ceiling down so it's not as high. Just to add some height contrast there. Oh, yeah. Do that. Let me figure out, maybe this should be lower. So I put it, that should be 1 unit is where that texture ends. So let me put these down to 1 unit, and I'll probably pull them up a little bit because 1 unit tall feels pretty cramped. So I think the player is just under 1 unit tall. So it feels like you're like, kind of like rubbing your head on the ceiling, which isn't super great. But maybe it's okay. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up a little bit. Then maybe have this room be 2 units tall or something like that. Let me just go over here and let me grab a texture that's easy to count. So let's make the upper wall texture something like this. There we go. Real easy. Pull that down so we know it's 2 units tall. Then I can just grab that texture and then paint it. Cool. Then let's just kind of lower everything down to agree with that. Ordepi says, the editor reminds me a bit of Crocodile, except Croc is only for 3D modeling and has way less features, which something like this is available for general use. So the Delver editor, whenever you buy Delver, you do get it. Like you right next to the Delver game binary is this. So you can really use it to make Delver levels. There's no maybe an export as OBJ might be an interesting feature. I never considered people using this as just a general level editing tool. I don't know. I pitched the idea to Chad of maybe trying to port it to Unity or something like that as like a like an asset people could pay for. But I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm glad people seem to think the editor is okay. And unfortunately, it's one of those things where like we spend way more time making the game good than the editor good. So there are definitely places that the editor could use some love, but for the most part, it is good enough for us to get the job done. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to try to maybe replicate this by yeah, I don't know. Right now I'm just inventing architecture. So if it's crazy, please forgive me. I'm just trying to add some variety. It's always nice, especially because this has some first-person shooter elements, having little things to duck behind. Maybe this also kind of simulates like pillars you might see, some sort of real architectural thing that's just not totally, made up. Then, yeah, maybe I can pull these ceilings up even higher just a little bit, just to further add some more variety. Maybe there would be cool. Actually, I think that's right back at the three high mark. Yeah. Again, I'm just trying to create like interesting visual contrasts in both in texture and color and like in height and like almost in every little dimension that my little tool bag has. I'm trying to add variety that way. And I like making these little areas and like trying to think of like little stories for them, even though there are no explicit stories. Cool. Then maybe I have room on either end to extend this out one, so maybe that's okay. Oh, hey, Gavin. How the heck are you, sir? Thank you for popping by. It has to be terribly late where you're at. Midnight? Oh, I mean, tomorrow is a work day, so midnight probably is fairly late. Yeah, I agree too. I like the pillars. It adds a nice like kind of repetitive element, which is like again, as people, we tend to build stuff with repetition. Maybe throw some torches back here so it's actually lit up a little bit. Yeah, that's all right. And maybe also pull these ends back, just add a little bit of interest here too. So kind of like that. And maybe like, actually I have room to kind of keep this little sequence going. So maybe like that, and then like that. Yeah, no, excellent. Watching people work and having a drink sounds like an excellent time. By the way, how is your Map Jam 9 map coming? I've been on a little bit of a holiday, so I haven't had time to keep up with folks. Yeah, my wife and I took a weekend to go up to. We live in the Seattle area, so we went to the north part of the Sound on the San Juan Islands, and we went whale watching. And we actually saw a small pod of killer whales, which was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, it did mean that we spent like 6 hours on the water. So if you can't tell, the pinkness of my skin is not like a camera thing. I'm actually a little sunburnt. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. If you folks are interested, there's also let me see. Let me pull it up. If you go to github.com/joshua.skelly/delver-community-mods, this is a kind of a general repo for like community contributions that I don't like publish or anything, but if people can put their stuff out there and learn from. So yeah, maybe that'd be a good place for your stuff to live. Or there might be room examples out there. I can't remember. I do have a boilerplate room stuff, so hopefully you can use that as a learning resource. Oh, cool. I have never been to Italy. I think here I need to make these ceilings match as well. Let me pull these down. Try to find which roughly they line up here. There we are. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, Seattle is like the birthplace of grunge. So there's still lots of like Nirvana and Pearl Jam stuff up here, and that was definitely stuff I was into when I was younger. Yeah, I think this area is kind of cool. That way you have the nice lower bits with the dark ceilings, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I think I want to throw some rafters in as well, just to kind of even further delineate the space. Dandy McGee says, "Did you ever work for Harmonix by chance?" Me? Let me see. I have never actually worked professionally in the game industry. I have worked for Lexmark and Microsoft building enterprise software. I'm a software engineer by trade, but I love doing art and I love game design, and that's something I'm trying to move towards doing more of. But I still really enjoy, I love engineering as well, and software programming and engineering. So I don't want to give that up either. So I'm kind of in this weird place where I want to do a lot. And I'm just trying to make my way forward. Can I run a second instance of this? I think I can. Let's try it. Let me save my progress. So file, save, and then let's see if we can run a second instance of the editor. No, it crashed. No, okay. So I guess the Steam integration prevents us from running. Maybe Chad. I think Chad. We should be able to run. So Chad is the other half of Delver. He's the main programmer on it. I think we ought to be able to run multiple instances of the editor, because sometimes it's nice to have one open with like a bunch of like just stuff you can copy and paste from one edit to the other. We used to be able to do that before our Steam integration, so maybe we can get that back. That would be a nice thing to do. Yeah, so let me see. We get good interaction with chat today, which is cool. Nice. So it sounds like you're getting a bit of travel in, Gavin. That's awesome. GameDev513 says, "Wait, if you're editing the dungeon, is the preset dungeon that joined for one big dungeon?" Yes. So our level generation is a couple of systems that we smash together. One is I build a set of rooms. So for example, this is a corner that connects on this side, and it connects on this side. And then the dungeon level proper is a series of rooms that create a path. Also, the computer can create rooms by itself. Those tend to be a little bit more chaotic. But how we've done that is I make some like rooms myself, and then Chad will try to imitate that with the room builder, and then I will try to imitate the room builder that builds the room. It's imitating me, and we kind of go back and forth until we get something that is kind of cohesive. It's kind of a weird, funky process, but it's worked out okay for us. So here, let me save. Let me open up my test room. I think in levels, test, yeah, new dungeon theme. I think I can just copy this. Let me, because I just want to grab, can I copy both of them? And paste both of them? Yes. So let's see if I can open up the one I was just working on, which is in our generator. Nope, misclick. Generator, dungeon new, corners, 2. Load. There we go. But now I should be able to paste these over here. Yeah, and I could put these raptors in, maybe even add a little bit more visual variety. Danny McGee says, I know somebody, the same name as you, who's an audio engineer at Harmonix. I couldn't remember how I found this channel, so I wasn't sure the same guy. Yeah, no, that's interesting. Like, Skeleton isn't really that common of a last name, so yeah, no harm there. Thank you. So Red Origin Games says, I love the looks of this game. Did you do everything yourself? There are 2 of us who work on this project. So I've done all the art myself. Well, I'll take that back. So we have an excellent illustrator from Spain who has done all of our promo art. His name is, he goes by the handle SamCube, but his name is Sam Garcia, and he does excellent illustration. So a lot of the promo stuff you see from Delver is for him. And there's also a excellent pixel artist animator who has polished up my terrible animations for the characters. His name is Hunter, and right now he's working on a game called Duelist, which is rad, and he does good fast work, which we appreciate. Yeah, I think these raptors will be kind of cool. I'm wondering, yeah, I think it's okay if they're flush with that. I think that works out all right. And then the pilaster can still kind of sneak in there. Yeah, no, it's awesome that you're in a point in your life where you can get some travel in. You know, I am fortunate that, you know, before you know, I got married and had a family, that I did have time to travel, which was nice. I think I'm trying to have these. Okay, I think, do these just kind of nicely, well, they intersect that just a little. So maybe I'll try to match this up as well. So I think this one needs to come over a touch. Yeah, that's about right. Hawaii is asking for help with JSON. Yeah, I can certainly help you out. No problem. If you want to just email me stuff, you can email me at joshua.skeleton@gmail.com. That's my email address. I try to be responsive in getting back to folks. It might take me a day or so, hopefully not longer. Yeah, feel free to ask me questions. Kind of an open book. You see, Dundee McGee says, left for the US for the first time last year to visit Germany. One of the most fun things I've ever done. Yeah, no, if you have the time to travel, it is definitely an eye-opening experience, especially if you've never left, you know, your home country. Yeah, I'm digging this back little area. It's kind of cool. It kind of gives like the kind of like a little arcade feel. I like these rafters, kind of help. Even though I guess that way the ceiling, even though it's higher, I mean, that way again you have like the nice dark ceiling with the low rafters. Yeah, I'm digging it. But my concern now is that cooler than the actual play area? I guess I could put the rafters out here. I mean, I don't want to put too many rafters though. That's the problem. Is you don't want to have like too much. Like you don't want to like overuse a particular design element. Oh, hey, Chris. So yeah, no. So Danny McGee says, oh, the other Joshua's last name is Kelly. Yeah, no, I use Skelly because it's short for skeleton. Apparently my grandfather and all of his brothers called each other Skelly growing up. So I just kind of took it. Because typically Joshua Skelly isn't taken, whereas Joshua Skeleton sometimes is. So a lot of my usernames are Joshua Skelly. Thank you, Gavin. The bookcases. The shelves also get procedurally generated, so they're yeah, like how to describe it. Like the bookcases are different from each other. Yeah, let me pop open the Blender file and I'll talk about that a little bit because I think it's kind of cool. Yeah, let's look at the Delver props, and then let's go to wherever the books live. Where do the books live? There we go. Yeah, so what it is I made a bookcase with 3 shelves, and then the shelves can be like there are like there's a concept of a whole shelf. Like some of these are whole shelves that take up an entire shelf, and there's also a concept of a shelf that is a left and a right half. And so it can choose between a full shelf or a shelf that's composed of a left and a right half, and then there's a chance that the left or the right may not be there also. So yeah, so hopefully we get like dozens of varieties for each shelf, which hopefully makes it look just a little less repetitive. And that's just a little system that Delver just supports out of the box. So I'm just trying to be smart whenever I can to use that. Let me pull I forgot to put the trim here, so let me just pull this up, pull the ceiling down. There we are. Yeah, Chris. Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't say that going to Texas is jumping into the deep end per se. Well, I guess depends where in Texas you ended up. Yeah. Books in the libraries. Bookshelf is a little roguelike of its own. it's a procedurally generated bookshelf. I don't know if there's an interesting talk on YouTube you can find from the developers of Caves of Qud on how they develop procedural books for their libraries, which is pretty darn cool. I don't know if we'll go that far, but it's like procedural layers all the way down in some cases. Again, I'm just trying to have nice little props that don't always look the same whenever you see them. Thank you. Yeah, no, like it's hard because like these little things I love to add detail to, and I know that most players won't even notice. And it's like I don't know, like hopefully folks don't mind that I take my time and try to do things the best of my ability, even though it does mean like we have to kind of postpone things sometimes because I am like really into making books for some odd reason. And that's why I have this stream every week is trying to let folks know where we are in the development process and what I'm spending my time on. And hopefully you folks would feel confident enough that if I am spinning my wheels on something that doesn't matter, just tell me, hey Joshua, cut it out. Like you are really just focusing on something that nobody cares about, because that would also be good to know. Yeah. So this is a nice, cool little area back here. And again, right now this area is super boring. I could maybe back here kind of do a similar thing, I suppose. Let me just make these into pillars then by carving that back, then lowering the ceiling here. Even further, Joshua, next one down. Oh yeah, a 15-hour flight is a long flight. I understand that perspective, Chris. Yeah. Yep, that's probably right up there with the longest one I've ever took, which was like 15, 16 hours as well. Cool. Yeah, no, I'm glad that some folks dig the technical side of things. Yeah, I try to have this stream be the one that I'm mostly like, I kind of bounce back and forth on between art and programming. Also, I recently, I guess for the past couple weeks, have started a new stream over my noontime lunch breaks, where I'm making a more proper roguelike. At least it started off that way. Now it's a roguelike that people can play through Twitch chat. That's been a fun little project as well, which yeah, you could follow me on there if you are into the weird creative stuff that I do. Yeah, so Gavin is noting that when I use the Delva editor, it didn't seem to spawn as much random stuff as it does with yours. Yeah, so what you do is you can define a for the theme, you can add additional rules to add more stuff to it. So this is for the new area. I've created new props and new rules to spawn stuff in. And it might be turned up a little too high because it's creating a lot of crap, but I'm trying to do that in an effort to make it so that I don't have to spend as much time on each individual room. It'll kind of decorate stuff up for me. Hey, there's my other favorite, Gavin. How the heck are you, sir? Um, yeah. If you're interested in that little side project, here, let me pull that up. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, sometimes I seem to get myself into more projects than are good for me, but yeah. So lunch break dash roguelite or dash skelly slash lunch break dash RL is the lunch break thing I'm working on, and the side project that spun out of that is this Twitch Observer, which is a Python API that allows you to work really simply with Twitch chat in Python, and this will probably get published out to the PyPy or the Python package index pretty darn soon, because that project is coming to a good spot where we have unit tests for it and we're getting the documentation ramped up. So yeah, so lots of weird stuff on my plate. I'm trying to spin all these plates, but I love it. Things are good, man. Just got back from the north part of the Sound. Had a nice weekend with the wife. I try to know my viewers' names. I really do. Like if you show up, at least a couple times and you tell me your name, I will try to talk to you like a person, because I believe people are awesome and we should just be nice to each other. Yeah, it was awesome. Like it was the first time in 14 months, because my son is 14 months old, that we've actually had a night to ourselves. So we let grandma and grandpa handle the kiddo, and we got to eat a little too much, drink a little too much, stay up too late. The stuff that we used to be able to do, but now we have more responsibilities we can't do as often. And these don't even touch the walls. What have I done here? Oh, let me fix that. Didn't even notice. Let's slide those over. There we go. Yeah, be excellent to each other. That is totally my thing. Yeah, like I said, I've been fortunate enough. I've been to, oh no, I don't know, half the continents on the world now, and wherever I've met people, people are awesome. People are nice and kind. That's just been my general experience, and life's already hard. We should just be nice to each other. That's it. Yeah, and I really appreciate the folks that do or take an interest in my work and support me. Like that means the world to me. Because trying to be an independent creator in really any media is going to be really hard. So I really definitely count on you folks to if you think what I'm doing is cool, you can support me financially. You could also tell other folks who might think what I do is cool. You could tell them about me. Yeah. Cool. So yeah, I think this is slowly getting a little more interesting, and it's maybe not as clearly defined of a space. You still have some maneuverability, but also you have plenty of cover. I need to figure out how to make this center part work better. I could just add create some manual stairs. That's fine. Maybe back here. Let's see what that looks like. I think I used to do my old trick of just say pulling up this edge, and I kind of hit just F. Yeah, F. The F key will flatten out the floor. So then we can just kind of just try to ballpark it and see where we get. This is probably way too steep. Nope, I can step up there. Yeah, maybe I could just manually tweak these. There aren't too many of them. And then maybe select this and then change this lower texture to maybe the brick. That would seem to make more sense for the stairs than, yeah, there we go. Maybe that makes more sense. And then you can get up here, which adds a little bit more, so just like a little bit of height variety. I find that at least with Delver, just the illusion of verticality is sometimes enough, because sometimes people go a little crazy with adding these vertical elements to like levels. So I find that just like hinting at it or implying verticality tends to work best. And for the most part, Delver is a 2D game. Whoa, thank you, Gavin. I really appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. So I guess also I am a Twitch affiliate now somehow, and if you want to like subscribe or whatever, that's a thing you could do too. I'm trying to figure out how to reward my subscribers. So if there are things you'd like to see me do, or things you would like, just let me know. The editor still needs a cheat sheet, most definitely. Yeah, right now the cheat sheet is just kind of like pinging me and just me answering questions, but that doesn't scale very well, Ba, 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 ba. Cool. Hawaii says add subscriber notifications. Like, you mean to the stream? I try to keep my streams pretty minimal. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I should be having like horns blaring and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm gonna lower the ceiling here because I feel like this gap should maybe should be pretty low. I definitely want to, at the end of every stream when I have subscribers, to call them out and thank them by name. Delver emoticons, that would be cool. Yeah, something I could certainly do. Pretty low hanging fruit there. I think I get for affiliates the chat emoticons I get are based upon like how many subscribers I have at a given tier level. So like if I have like a $9 subscriber, I think I get one, and if I have a $25 subscriber, I get another one, or something like that. The rules are a bit weird. I'm not quite sure why they're making a differentiation between affiliates and partners, but there is one. Yeah. Speaking of which, this game needs sound effects. The game does have sound effects, so I tend to keep the volume on my streams turned down pretty low. Yeah, we have Power Up Audio out of Vancouver, Canada. They do all of our sound effects, and they do a pretty darn good job. Yeah, I don't. Again, I don't want like. Again, maybe this is how I'm doing it wrong, but I don't want to have like too like crazy of stuff. I just want to have just a nice informative stream, and like try to keep it laid back too, where I just make stuff. But as I become more familiar with actually the Twitch API and writing stuff, I might try to make a little, maybe a little bot that does something when people subscribe. Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with how this is turning out. Again, we don't want to make it too unique, but I think this is an okay place. Let me save this file, save, and let me just let me play a little bit and see how it looks when we actually run into it in the dungeon and make sure it feels all right. I could send people a glitter bomb in the mail. Breakable tick. So this sometimes happens, and I'm not sure why. And it's happening because the game, I guess I can just say if let's do it all the way up here. So if shake timer greater than 0 and game dot instance not equal to null. There we go. I'm thinking maybe for our splash screen, maybe it's putting like the decorator is putting something in there that shouldn't be. Because I think the splash screen might not be a proper instance of game, and then maybe that's why it's crashing. What's it doing? Why is something? It feels like there's something breaking. Yeah, super weird. Again, Chad, if you're watching, this is something we need to look into. I'm just hacking it to get past it right now. My suspicion is something is being generated in here that's breakable, that's getting destroyed, and it's because there's no proper instance of a game running that it's bailing, or it's having a hard time dealing with that. Cool. Thanks Hawaii for the tips, man. I appreciate it. So let's just go ahead and just debug, jump our way down to the areas that we care about. And why is my level skip isn't working now for some odd reason? Weird. Let me quit. Yeah. Jib again. Let me if game dot instance equal to null, return. No speed run time. I think I'm just gonna I'm just gonna cheat my way through. That's why. I mean, it's handy to have debug functions for any game you're developing. Hey, Adapunkin. Gavin says, I barely use other services that come with Amazon, except always go for watching X-Files and Amazon Video. No, I mean, that means a lot to me to actually have somebody, do that and, support me that way. It's awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay, template 1. Now we're in the good stuff. Cool. So this is the only start room we have. So you start in this little like half pedestal thing with some steps down. There's Z fighting there. We need to get, like, again, Chad needs to help me get this wall decorator thing straightened up. Okay. Big old empty room. Here's a try intersection. Joining room. Actually, here, let me just do this cheat where I can create myself a scroll of discern reality, and then I can discern reality. And then let's look at the map. Yeah, so I do have a couple of my new areas in. So let's just keep pushing forward. Danny B says, Josh, as a developer, what are your thoughts on 1, someone pirating a game and playing it enthusiastically, and 2, someone buying your game and never playing it? Yeah. Where did you come from? You're the old style torch and you should not appear. Yeah, those are both good and hard questions. Yeah. I mean, like, I really appreciate the fact that people are into my work and they play it and enjoy it, and that's always awesome to hear. And I understand that some folks can't afford, like in some countries, that's not good either. So $7.99 is not a lot of money in some places, and in some places it is, and I totally get that. But I mean, ultimately, I'm trying to like support my family doing this. And people like buying my game and never playing it. Like, yeah, sometimes if like in the past we have been in Steam sales, so I understand like. You may, like, a lot of folks have picked us up in some bundle and never even noticed that they have us, which is kind of a bummer. And hopefully sometime in the future they do discover us and give us a shot. I don't know. I don't really. Yeah, I mean, We don't really spend a lot of effort fighting piracy because it's kind of fruitless. And hopefully, again, if people dig what we do, they support us. And I am also guilty of buying games and never playing them, or playing them very, very shortly. And that's curious. I'm thinking I should probably put a blocker here to not spawn stuff in. Okay, cool, let's do that. Yeah, so Gavin says he sees it as a tip jar thing. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. That's a kind way to look at it. Yeah, yeah. So if you didn't know, I think the scroll of discern reality was put into the last update, and it just gives you the entire map. Yep. Yep. So lots of talk in chat about just about games and Steam libraries and piracy. Yeah. No, I try to see both sides of it, you know. Editor, go. File, open. Generator, dungeon new. Corners, 2. I think I'm gonna call this one okay for the time being, even though there's this big like showcase thing that's nothing there. I just wanted to go to this backside where we have that stairs up and place I'm pretty sure we can put in a area. Where is it? Areas, spawn blocker. And then I'm just going to resize this such that we don't spawn anything on these stairs, because we kind of want people to get up and down them. Nope, wrong way. 0.5. And then, 2 should be sufficient, I think. And hang on a second, folks. All right, I am back. Let me go ahead and get this just dropped in, and I need to get going. Because I haven't seen my son in a little while, and I'd like to go hang out with him. Yeah, so just putting the spawn blocker in should be enough to keep the wall decorator from placing stuff here, which is what we want. So let's go File, Save. And I guess I should probably commit my stuff I'm working on. Let's just say working on new dungeon rooms. Cool. Cool. All right, so I think that's a good place to stop. Yeah, I think I had a pretty productive hour with you folks. I appreciate the chat and the good questions. I appreciate, I guess my first subscriber, Gavin. That means the world to me, man. I appreciate it. I will be back next Sunday with more Delver work. Hopefully a little bit longer of a stream. It won't be a crazy weekend. And also I'll be back tomorrow doing more lunch break roguelike if you want to watch me work on that. That'll be more programming focused. Cool. Again, thanks for the good vibes, everybody. Have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you on Sunday or Monday.